In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve the ALEKS problem called Using Mass Concentration to Find Solute Mass and Solution Volume. There are two different versions of this problem, and I am going to show you how to solve both versions of the problem. In either version of the problem, you are going to be given the concentration of a solution. It's going to have units. It may not look exactly like the units I have in my problem, but it's going to be something grams over something liters. And the problem is going to ask you to calculate either the mass or the volume that is needed for some situation that's described in the problem. So no matter which version of the problem that you're looking at, you are going to be just basically using the generic equation. The concentration of that solution, whatever it is the mass of the solute divided by the volume of the solution. And if you are solving this version of the problem, the one that I have, calculate the mass, your unknown variable is the mass, you are going to be given the concentration and also the volume of the solution. So for this version of the problem, what we're going to do is take this generic concentration equation and we're going to rearrange it, just do some algebraic rearrangement. We're going to say the mass is equal to the concentration of the solution times the volume of the solution. Now, if you are looking at the other version of the problem, the other version of the problem is asking you to do a volume calculation, then you want to do a slightly different mathematical rearrangement. Maybe it's easier to see if we're looking at this version of the equation right here. So if you're looking at the other ALEKS problem where you are being asked to solve for volume, that is going to be done by taking the mass of the solute and dividing it by the concentration of the solution overall. So again, all that I've done is said, here's the generic formula that we use to calculate concentration. Here, I've rearranged that formula algebraically so that the mass variable is isolated. And then over here, I've rearranged the formula algebraically so that the volume is the variable that we would be solving for. And then from there, we're just going to take the information out of the problem and plug it in. So for mine, where I'm being asked to solve for mass, this is my concentration. Your concentration is going to be the number that has units of both mass and volume as well. So both mass and volume units. I have 4.12 grams per deciliter. And then here's my volume, 600 milliliters. Now, this is a bit of a problem, and this is going to be like the hard part in this ALEKS problem. The trouble here is that I have incompatibility with my units. I have deciliters for one of my volume units, and I have milliliters for my other volume unit, and my volume units need to be the same. It doesn't matter what they are. They could both be deciliters, they could both be milliliters, they could both be something entirely different, but they need to be consistent. So I wrote this a little early. I'm not quite ready for my volume unit or my volume measurement yet. So down here, what I'm going to do is take that 600 milliliters and I am going to convert that volume into deciliters. And when I'm doing a metric to metric conversion, I prefer to convert from the prefixed unit into the base unit. So I'm converting from milliliters into liters. 1 milliliter is 10 to the minus 3 liters. And then I like to convert from the base unit into the new prefixed unit. 1 deciliter is 10 to the minus 2 liters. That's just my own strategy. You don't have to do it that same way, but this allows me to get all my units nice and straight and minimizes the mistakes that I'm going to make. 600 times 10 to the minus 3 divided by 10 to the minus 2 is 60 deciliters. And that's my volume in the units of deciliters, which allows me to get everything canceled out correctly. And my mass is 247.2 grams. Double check and make sure that the mass unit that you get coming out of this calculation is consistent with the mass unit that ALEKS wants for your answer. Round my answer to 3 significant figures, 247 grams. So this is how you would approach the problem if you were being asked to solve for mass. And again, really what you're just wanting to do is make sure that your units are consistent. Now, if you're being asked to do the other version of the problem where you're asked to solve for volume, we can just kind of change this problem up a little bit. And let's just say that instead of giving me milliliters, it gave me 600 grams. And the problem would be something along the lines of like, what volume would I need if I wanted 600 grams of this particular substance? It doesn't really matter what the story is. So to get my volume, I would take my mass, which is 600 grams. I would divide it by my concentration, 4.12 grams per deciliter. My gram units are going to cancel, and I'm going to be left with units of 146 units of deciliters. And then the last thing that you would want to do with this version of the problem is that you would just want to double check and make sure that that unit, deciliter or whatever it is consistent with the unit that ALEKS has in the answer box. If it's not, just go ahead and do a unit conversion.